as she sips her drink.
Cheers, short people. I'll stop it right here for good luck.
Sure we did it on camera.
Oh, we did it?
We will.
Nope.
What's poppin', y'all? It is Shhmoney Curl, and I am back after a long week. I haven't been here, 2 weeks? It feels like? This would be another, almost 2 weeks. This is my second week back. But I took a whole vacation to Puerto Rico. Much freaking needed. I need a vacation on top of a vacation. Now I see why people, when they go on vacation, they take off 2 or 3 days. Well, my crazy ass didn't do that. I literally got on a plane at 1 or something in the morning from Puerto Rico, flew to Tampa, got there at 4:30 in the morning, drove back here, didn't get here till about 9:30, took a 2-hour nap, and I came back to work. And I was here till 10 o'clock at night.
Crazy.
Well, then I went to the plug and finished off till 1 o'clock. So yeah, I need a vacation on top of a vacation. But it was so refreshing. If you haven't been to Puerto Rico, that's my island. Like, that is my baby. You know, there's always one place that just takes your heart and you just feel peace in life. And just seeing baby goats and horses around, that's my peace in life. It was so refreshing, but it was a whirlwind of different things that I went through too, with visiting family. My grandmother's officially out there after years of being out here, the one I have on my arm. She doesn't want to come back, but she's living in a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 2nd stories. You can see all the mountains and Morovis. It's freaking gorgeous. And then I spent family time. It's like first vacation with my boyfriend and the kids by ourselves, no mother-in-laws on each side, just us. And man, was that a whirlwind of emotions and good things and blessings and just bumps in the road too. I'm dealing with a teenager right now. And I give it up to blended families. Like, it is Brady Bunch and stuff? They make it seem so soft. Like, you have your little obstacles in there, but they always get back. But it is a lot to take in different atmospheres of somebody else's life and making it one. Too. Oh, very big of a cultural difference. Me being Puerto Rican and him being white, but the kids are half Puerto Rican, so it makes it a little bit. But he's raised them. He's as a single father, so it was a lot of changes getting the kids to get along with each other. 1 minute they were all good, next minute it's just picking and poking at each other, ready to strangle. And I'm sitting there having a whole anxiety attack on the mountains. Like, oh my God, you know what, music, boom, put the music up really loud. And God, it was really good though, seeing my grandmother, and she cooked and hung out with the whole family, and we went horseback riding. Good food. Great food, $6 plates. So people go to Puerto Rico and then go to San Juan. Don't go to San Juan. Like, it is for the tourists. The beaches are dirty. The food is overly priced. Like, you get a plate of food that's like $30. Yeah, you go 20 minutes out of San Juan and you're getting plates for $7, $8. That's feeding 3 people. So it's a big difference in just the culture difference, I guess you could say.
Before we let you off into the distance, let's go ahead and get the introduction for the rest of everybody.
Going to the next one?
No. I love your story, but we don't even know who our other 2 people are here.
Oh, you know, I thought we were starting and then somebody else was going to take over. Let's do it. Go ahead. Introduce yourself, because I'll keep going and talk about Puerto Rico all night.
Hey, everyone. It's your girl, Enya Phoenix. This is a conversation. Oh, shit. I forgot it again.
Look at that.
Hold on.
I did it.
I love this. Look, we are learning for the future. We need taglines for each individual. All right. Not for the show, but for each individual. Because the main tagline will be... We can't even
remember, though.
That's the main tagline. You can't give me a script. I'll start stuttering. It has to come out natural.
So, I mean, it's Monday.
So the normal tagline is the Parlor. Yes, that's the normal
behind the hair.
But each individual needs their own when the show opens. All right. Hey, what's going on? I'm Enya Phoenix, the fire that rise with the ashes. Ooh. I am blah, 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 blah. And then I'm blah, 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 blah. And this is Parlor Talk, the conversation behind the hair. Boom. Look,
do we need
they pay me the big bucks.
Do we need to put you on a camera?
What?
No, we ain't putting a camera on.
He got this down pat.
I'm Dee Dominguez. Welcome to Parlor Talk. Listen, I got a lot to say today, but before we get to that, I do want to hear about Nakisha's vacation. First of all, wait, no. First of all, That's my camera, right? All right. So today,
you don't know your camera. Y'all don't know your taglines.
Monday. We do this every Monday, but this is Monday.
Listen, today has been the day, right? But I'm gonna start with the positive.
Okay.
Today, 28 years ago today, I was a mother for the first time. I was 15 years old.
Aww.
Snap.
Happy birthday to my firstborn, my first true love of my life. Sorry, husband, but come on.
It is what it is.
You know?
Gotta share them.
Yeah, my baby turns 28 years old today. I'm very proud of him.
Oh my
He
God.
When I found out I was pregnant, I wanted to make sure that I raised a productive, positive human being, and he has surpassed my expectations.
That's
especially
good.
as a father. He is hands down. I mean, he still gets on my nerves every now and then.
Us men in general.
That's just kids and men put together.
There's a lot of things that I wish were different, you know. But overall, I cannot complain. God has blessed me with a amazing human being, an amazing father, a great husband. I mean, his wife might have, some complaints, but, I think he's all around very well put together. When I see other guys, other husbands, his age, I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
That's when you know you did something right.
Yep.
That's how I feel. As long as he comes out, I did something right in life. I was a good mom.
I tried.
You did it.
Yeah. So tell us about your trip to Puerto Rico.
Oh my God, it was bomb. The experiences was dope. I went four-wheeling. The pictures do no justice ever. And just the waterfalls, like I said, I don't stay in the city. I go in the mountains. So it takes 3 hours from one side of Puerto Rico to the other. So I rented a Jeep and I was just sliding the whole freaking time as much as I can. Hour here, hour there, went to Crash Boat. El Hippie is one of my favorite rios out there. It's like a river. And we just traveled up and down and dealt with a lot of like hidden things with the kids, getting them to get used to each other. Like 1 minute it's good, next minute it's a little sour. One's looking for attention, one's not. So it was a lot of different emotions that we went through this trip. And spending 5 days that you're not normally in the same household with children and family members, it was a lot. It was a testing moment at the same time. But we came out super strong, so I was blessed for everything that happened. But man, was it a lot. It was like a whirlwind. The first 2 days was like skyrocket. We're all chilling, having fun. Then reality hits that everybody's in the same rooms and cars together. This is a nonstop thing.
Personal space.
Exactly. Everybody's missing their own beds.
Especially like I think teenage girls. I remember when I was a teenager, I had to share a room with my sister, and I'm like, that personal space, that little time for you to be alone, like that's very precious.
It really is. And I felt bad for them because, Gordo was sleeping in the bed with my grandmother, and me and my man had our own bed in the room. And then his kids, boy and girl, had shared another bed. And you can tell they were going at it. If they weren't listening to their music or talking to their friends, they were just at it. And they're siblings. Yeah. So put Ivan in the picture, oh shit. Hell broke loose, and then 1 minute they're good, and then they're just like real freaking siblings.
Children in general.
Yeah, they're real siblings. And it got a lot. Like at one point, the daughter's 14 years old, so she's, 14-year-olds, they're weird. Like I was weird back then. You never know what the hell's going on in their minds. 1 minute they're super friendly, laughing, giggly. Next minute they get very quiet and like elite to everybody. Yeah, you can't even look at them because it's like what are they gonna do? They're gonna snap, cry. Like we don't know what reaction. And we went through that at one point, and it was a weird conversation. I'm gonna put it like this because I don't want to say everything because no matter what, family issues are family issues, and we resolve everything together.
And not only that, but you gotta respect other people's privacy.
Exactly. So in other words, when we're Puerto Ricans, I can say that because I'm Puerto Rican, Hispanic couples and families, we're always, if you hang out with us enough and we're breaking bread with you at the house, you're family. Like I consider you family. I have more friends that are blood that aren't blood that don't come to my house, and I don't trust them like that. So in general, if I'm with everybody, I consider them family. So there was a conversation that went on in a restaurant. We were all eating, and my boyfriend's getting the food for everybody. It's my aunt, my cousins, like my little cousins I haven't saw in years, my son, his children. And randomly, my son goes, "Oh, we're gonna go see our cousin Aneldi. He got chickens and goats." And I'm excited because I want to see I like a finca. I don't care about the city. I like the fincas. And off rip, the son goes, "Well, that's not our cousin." And I even looks at him and very softly, mind you, my son's 10 years old. Me and him have been having this conversation throughout my relationship because you kind of got to ease the kids in too. We didn't introduce the kids till later on until we figured out there was something serious. And then you're still trying to understand each end and making sure that they still feel wanted. They're getting enough time. And I've talked to my son about this. Like, they're family. Like, at the end of the day, if I'm dating Derek, those are like family. Those are like my stepchildren. I don't even call them stepchildren. Like, they're my children at the end of the day. Bonus children. And off of rip, Ivan was just like, well, not like that, but at the end of the day, your mom and my dad are together. I mean, my dad and mom are together, so we're family. And the daughter comes up, very snippy. She woke up that morning, didn't want to fuck with nobody that morning, right? Mind you, the day before that, it was all laughs and giggles and having fun and shit. And she was like, yeah, no. At the end of the day, y'all not married, so we're not family like that. And I just looked at him like, well, I consider, like, well, then my grandmother jumps in. You know, old grandma ain't got no filter. When I'm looking at my grandma with my eyes piercing. Don't do it. Like, watch what you say. I understand, like, it is what it is. But she's a teenager. Like, fuck it. Like, what else can I do? I can't get freaking really pissed about it. And my grandma looks and goes, "Ay, mija, what, you don't like Nakisha? You don't like her with your dad?" And my grandma was really passive aggressive, but smiling at the same time with her little arm shaking. And that's when I jumped in real quick. And I was like, look, at the end of the day, even though we're not physically family, like, I consider you my kids. Like, you're my family. Your dad's my family. We're all family. We're a big family. Exactly. And she just sucked her teeth and rolled her eyes and walked away from me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why? And at that point, that's when I knew I was old. Because I was like, I know she didn't just try me like that. I'm her elder. When the hell did I ever think I was going to call myself an elder? And I'm 30 years old. But it was like, it hit me all at once. I got my grandmother.
Well, you better be glad I wasn't there. Be like, power driver.
Yo, it was like 50% of me was like, yo, I'm gonna choke this child up because I'm still considering her my own child. So I will be damned if my son sucks his teeth and rolls his eyes at the grandmother of Derek or the aunt of Derek. Like, no, those are elder. And
that's very important because those are tradition. That's the way we were raised. Till this day, I am 43 years old, almost 44. I don't curse in front of my mother.
There's certain things you just don't do.
Certain things you just don't do in a Hispanic culture.
See, I just started. I'm 30. Like, we play around, but never in an argument on some serious. Like, I'll be like, bitch, please. But I will never directly say it.
Even if I'm talking directly to my mother, even if I'm talking to somebody else, like, maybe like a coño will come out or something. But like, even that, like, I cannot curse in front of my mother out of respect. Forget my aunts and uncles. And I'm telling you, my aunts and uncles are in their 50s and 60s, and I'm 43. So it's not like there's a big age gap.
But it's just a thing of respect. And I feel like that with my grandmother, like my aunts and uncles on my grandmother's side, like that age group, it's like a different culture. Like, and just even to the point, if they're in the room talking or outside, I'm gonna leave them be. Yes. Like, to me, I'm still not in that same age group, and there's other adults that are in my age group that I can go have a conversation with, just like kids. If you see adults talking, ain't no reason for you to be up here in a grown folks conversation. But those are just things I was raised by. So when I saw her do that, like, to me, the only thing that flashed back is like, yo, I would have had no teeth. Like, I would have sucked my teeth, I would have been popped before anybody can see it. I'm being embarrassed on purpose now because you embarrassed me, but I had to swallow it.
Yes, because so at the end of the day, you're new to her, and it's first of all, it's a different culture. Second of all, you're new.
It's a new relationship.
I'm taking the only thing that she has is her dad.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that she doesn't like you, because she could probably genuinely like you, but that 14-year-old in her.
Plus the hormones.
This new
girl.
New lady is in our life, you know, and like she said, we're not married yet, so to her it's not real until you get married.
See, and I think that's wild to me because I'll be damned. Like, there's been times that Ivan came just nonchalantly, not even noticing it, but Derek will be talking to him, and he'll be like, yeah, and he'll start walking away. Yo, when I mean I've snapped, like, yo, what the hell are you doing? If you don't turn around and give him respect and eye contact while he's talking to you, and right then and there I nip it in the butt. Yes. But it's weird because it's never done when he's around, ever. So when this was said, now this is in front of a lot of people. Like, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, Keisha, swallow it.
How did he respond?
My son, afterwards, it blew up. Like, I held it in. I went outside, everybody was still eating, and I decided to take myself away from the equation. Let me breathe. Let me think this through. Keisha, don't drop to a 14-year-old's level. Like, you have to realize that you're still a woman, even though my feelings at the same time are hurt at the same, like, yo, like, what? Like, that's how you feel? Okay, bet. So when we got home, it was nothing said until the next day. Well, I decided, I woke up and I'm like, I'm still a little bit in my feelings, but I'm gonna move on without the day. We got horseback riding, four-wheeling, all this shit, playing with the kids and the family. And it wasn't until she stayed with her face. She kept the face the whole time. Like, attitude, not wanting to talk to nobody. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna address you, like, at that point. Like, I'm not gonna go out my way to be like, hey, good morning, because I'm not fake either. Like, you're gonna have to realize who we are all together, because I'm not gonna like fake the funk. And I didn't say hi in the morning. Honestly, I really didn't say hi to nobody that morning, because I was still a little bit in my feelings. I still was, but I knew the day had to go, so I was still conversating. And we got up to the mountains in the ATV, and she said something to her dad, like, in other words, like, Keisha hasn't said nothing to me, and I don't, like, she don't like me, or she don't want to be here, or some shit. And Derek walks up to me, and under his voice was just like, look, I think we're gonna have to go back down, because stuff's awkward right now. And I just snapped. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was no sleep for 3 days and we were drinking on liquor and food and just partying all day, or what happened the night before on top of everything. But in front of 20 people, I literally looked them. No, strangers. These are all strangers. Like, people are driving in ATVs with us. And I was just like, that's bullshit. Like, you're going to allow your daughter with a face right now and ruin it for every single person here. Your son and my son don't deserve that. We're here for a vacation. I don't deserve that. I just spent $220 on top of your $220 that you paid for your kids. Like, no, she don't want to be here. Sit her ass in the back and make her eat, like, sit there. Yeah. And that's the same thing my mom would have done. You know what? You don't want to be here? Bet. When we go have fun, sit there and watch us have fun. And that's the way I grew up. So at that point, it was just coming out. Like, it was, I should have held my composure a little bit better. But at that point, you already got me here. Emotions are just flying. And he was like, well, she said she swore to God she didn't say that to me. Like, and I guess I told him the night before what was said, and I was like, you know, it's whatever. Well, he confronted her about it, and she swore to God. I did not say that. I didn't say that, but mind you, it was in front of everybody. And he was like, she didn't say that. You know what? Put me wherever, whoever said, she said that in front of, so I can hear from them. I said, oh, so my word don't mean shit. Oh, straight up, like, my word don't mean shit. He looked very surprised, because I don't think he knew it was done in front of me. And when I said it that way, his whole face changed, and he kind of like looked at her. And I was like, no, but it's straight though. Tell him what you told me. We're not family. Eat that. Because what I do with family is I make sure they have fun. I make them feel comfortable. That's what I do for family. Like,
I mean,
either or. Like, I'm gonna give you what
you're gonna have to fess
you're
up
gonna
to
have
what
to.
you said.
You're gonna have to feel it. Like, you be honest about it. I understand everybody has emotions, but at the end of the day, when you're right is right. When you're wrong is when you're wrong, you're wrong. My child, I'm the same way. To know not to be finessing, that's kind of conniving a little bit. And it blew up to the point that we weren't talking the whole day. Like, all of us. Like, it was very awkward. Even my son, to the point that my son's catching deuces on the kids. Like, don't look at me. Like, it's me and my mama against everybody. It's like that's it. I'm like, that's my dog. Like, that's my road dog. But at the same time, it killed me that it took like that moment to ruin what we were doing. So I did what I do best as a Puerto Rican. I'm gonna go take me some rum shots. And I enjoyed the rest of my day. We went horseback riding. We were laughing at that point. Me and Derek, we tried to not involve anybody else, so we were just laughing it out. And nobody would ever knew nothing until at nighttime it came. And it blew up. It blew up that was the first argument we've ever been in since we've been together, in like a serious argument. And at that point I told him, like, look, I'm not gonna argue with you because I understand you. Like, if you didn't defend your daughter, I would look at you some way different too.
How do you guys argue?
So it wasn't.
It's very important to know how to argue in a relationship.
It was arguing we had a lot of communication between each other. Like, I would say what I needed to say, and then he would say it. Stuff that I said he didn't like, some stuff that he didn't say he didn't like. So it was both crying and emotions on each side. But it was enough that we both let each other say what we needed to say, and then we gave each other space. Okay. He went up his way into my grandmother's house, and then my grandma grabbed his ass on the little counter thing, whatever she had. They were talking, and I just stood outside, and I kind of just smoked me a fatty and took a couple shots and listened to music and kind of just reminiscing of what everything was going on, like from the start to finish, where I was wrong at, where I could have done better. It was the first thing I did. Was anybody? It's easy to put blame on everybody else, but I needed to know what I could have done differently as a woman, as somebody coming into this little girl's life, because it is a big change. And my son reacts very differently with Derek the same way. There's certain things that Derek does that he just wishes, and I can see this, that he wishes dad was there.
Yeah.
Like his dad's
Hey
doing
guys,
prison time.
So you guys know that we don't edit, we don't do any, like everything is live, like we record everything. Unfortunately, my mom has called me like 5 different times.
Oh,
She's in
shit.
the hospital, so I'm just gonna step to the side. You guys keep
I hope she's
conversation.
okay.
She's good. She's never called me this many times, so I'm just gonna step outside real
Yeah,
No
go ahead.
worries.
But it was a lot of different emotions, and we ended up waking up the next day and both apologizing to each other, and we went to the beach and she pulled me aside and apologized, and I think it was a lot that everybody needed to get out at one point. It just sucked that it had to be on the second day of vacation.
It's probably something that was adding up too.
I think so too.
A builder of emotions and little stuff that you put down. It's not that big until it's actually big.
Yeah. It definitely was something like that. So if there's moms on here that watch our podcast and that are into a blended family similar to what I'm going through, you want to throw some advice down in them comments? Please give me some, because it is a lot. I've never been with a teenager before, and teenagers are rough. And this generation,
nowadays.
It's different in this generation. The stuff that they're so eager to learn, and the phones they got into it, they're more grown than we ever were.
I think that's why I don't have kids.
Is this your little test before Ivan gets to that level?
Oh, I'm gonna hang that man. I swear to God, I will. That boy is too big for me to play with, because he is 5'3". I will drop kick him with a bat, do whatever I gotta do. But I put fear in my son's heart. Not fear, but yeah, enough fear that by the time he gets old enough, he knows better to play me like that. Like, he knows better to talk back to me. He moves around. But man, I can give it up to these moms that have 2 or 3 kids that went through teenage stage, because that's a different breed. And I remember me, and I think that's what calmed me down a little bit with her, because I was bad. Like, I was bad. I told my mom after this situation, I'm like, thank you. Like, I'm so sorry for how I was.
I think that's why I didn't have kids.
Yo, it's a lot.
Because I knew I put my mom through shit growing up. So it's just like, you know how that saying goes, what you did back then is going to come back 10 times as worse. And I was like, yeah,
but it's so weird because my son's
no.
so good. Like, right now he is.
Like, I can't.
Right now he's good. Thank God. I got a good one, knock on wood. But it's just hard. And when we're 14, 15, we go through so many emotions. I was so angry
trying to figure out
at 14.
yourself.
Yeah.
And the hormones is kicking in at the same time. And boy issues.
I was going to say, boys come into play. Bodies changing. So I guess I understand. I guess we just got to put ourselves back in those shoes again.
You have to put your mind back into your 14-year-old self.
Yeah, I just
and it's hard to do because you're older. You've had, so many years of experience now that it's just like, at the end of the day,
it's like,
what would you tell her?
No.
Like, what would you tell her 14-year-old self?
What would I tell my 14-year-old self?
If you did that to your mom,
honestly, I would have.
Or
I
like
would have slapped the
word
shit.
advice.
Like, you would have get slapped. Like, why would you even try that? But at the same time, is to be softer, understanding that our moms, they don't know how to be parents. Same thing as dads. Like, there's real no book to life. And we're so hard on them. Like, we expect them to know everything. We expect them to get us our food, know what present is this when you're asking history things. And we're supposed to know different things like, Mom, well, this kid, now you have a lot of the bisexual, transgender stuff going on in this school time that we didn't have back then. So these are conversations I'm having with my child that I don't even know how to have conversations with. So I'm YouTubing it and reading on it. Like, how can you break the ice and tell them that it is okay for everybody to be who they want to be, but this is what you were raised like, and if you choose to do whatever you want later on, we have to break it down in a very soft form too. That it's just be soft on your parents. Like, give her a break too. They're just humans, and they're learning day by day and trying to build. And I read a quote on Facebook that said that, like, your first child is the child that goes through hell with you.
Yeah,
like, they
I've
learn
seen that.
everything, every obstacle with you. And then your second one is usually, the first one hates on the second one because you got it so much easier. They're softer on you. They're more understanding. It's because we were still living off survival mode, and we're not learning that yet. My mom didn't learn that either, so she was very hard on me. but disciplinary to the point that it sticks in my mind. There's morals. And I feel like that's one thing as parents that we have to teach our kids young. Like, no, it's not okay to be like, oh, she's a child, she'll get over it, or it's all right, that's just how he reacts when he gets mad. No. You can't react like that in regular public. You're not gonna go to work and somebody's disciplining you. You're not gonna roll your eyes and suck your teeth. There's things that you cannot do growing up.
There's gonna be consequences as you get older.
And that's where I feel like more parents need to be a little bit more involved with. Too many want to be friends.
Do you think?
What the fuck you want to be friends for your
I
friends?
got a question for Room. Then, do you think that the lack of having, like, how often did you guys see y'all parents like mess up?
Never. Not in my face.
Oh, mine all the time.
Oh, see, no, my mom's very strict about that.
Different from your mom. So my upbringing was, I think I touched base on this on the very first episode. My mom went through stages. I call them her stages of life. So her first stage was a devoted wife. Like, she was, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, taking care of the husband, to a husband that was a piece of shit. Then she decided to leave him. That one was a weird stage, because that stage she really didn't know what she wanted. Then she went through the partying stage, where she would leave on Fridays, come back on Sunday. The minute she realized that I can take care of my little sister and I can cook at 9 years old, she's like, I ain't bad. Fridays, I'll come back on Sundays. Then she went through the educational phase, where she wanted to get her GED, and she was going to school and she got her GED. She still wasn't home. Then she went through the working stage, where she had 2 jobs. She would go into one at midnight, come out at 8, and then go to the other one at 9, get out at 3. So whenever she was home, she was sleeping. Throughout all those years, throughout all her stages, I was taking care of my little sister, cooking, cleaning, being the adult. It wasn't until I had my own child that I moved out that she was forced on her own. And then her last, still to this day, stage is the religious stage, where she got so deep into religion where she became a fanatic. She's gonna hate me for saying this, but she's a devoted Catholic that, and we have constant debates about the Bible and things. The other day she told me, what was it that she was debating me, that I asked her to look it up in the Bible so she can show it to me. She still hasn't brought it up. I forget what it was, but today was, since I stepped out, she's fine.
Good, that's what I was about to ask.
Today was a day for me. Today was definitely a day, like, I had a whole schedule planned out for myself. She's been sick, so I didn't go to the school. Mondays are like, I go to the school, I work at a charter school as a school nurse. I go home, I shower, I get ready, I put some makeup on, I come here, we record, then it's my salsa lesson, like, Mondays is like a full day, but at the end is like just really stuff that I love. I love this podcast, so like it feels like therapeutic for me. So it doesn't feel, it's not work, And then my salsa classes. The work at the school is not a heavy load. It's not, I get to work with kids. But today was not that at all. So I couldn't go to the school. I called out because my mom was in the hospital. So I spent most of the morning with my mom. So my mom's heart rate dropped to the 20s.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
While I was at the hospital. And they brought in the crash cart. So it was just like very emotional. Here,
that's a lot for today.
All day. This day is always very emotional for me too, because the day my son was born was the day that my life changed forever.
Because it was at a young age.
But then on top of that, so my grandmother died on my younger son's birthday. So when my mom went to the hospital today, and today's my older son's birthday, I'm like, oh shit. Like, don't do this. Like, do not die on my son's birthday, because my grandma did that. So when her heart dropped to the 20s, I really thought that she was gonna be, because she doesn't want to be resuscitated.
Oh God, Jesus.
So thank God they didn't have to use a crash cart. Her heart rate went back up, and so I stayed there for hours, just watching her sleep, just making sure looking at all the monitors and all that. But when I left the hospital, I had to call somebody. I was like, who the fuck do I call? Like, I felt desperate. So, like, I wanted to scream. is what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing other, like, I was like, what the fuck do I do? Like, there's nothing else that I can do. Like, so I called my cousins. My first line, I FaceTimed them actually. I called my cousins, and after a while, after thinking about it, I was like, shit, damn, we fight so much, but they were the first ones that I called. They're the only ones that know, because our parents are siblings, obviously, so they're the only ones that know exactly how I feel. Because, you know, our parents are
Yeah, definitely. It's a different type of bond.
And I was angry at my mom. I was angry because she didn't take care of her health. So that puts me in a position now where she tells me, make sure she knows I don't want to get resuscitated. And I'm like, you're only 66 years old. Like, I feel like that's selfish, you know? But again, you have to honor her wishes. Those are her wishes that she does not want to get resuscitated. I'm like, and then here I am, so many shit going on. I'm behind on school, work. I have a whole bunch of shit that I have to do for my nonprofit. Then I get a text today about our podcast, you know, something changed today, something that was planned was not. You know, it's like, at 5 o'clock, I finally just was like, you know what? I just want to fucking disappear. It's one of those days. I want to go somewhere where I don't know nobody and just say, fuck it. Fuck everybody. But because of my upbringing and the way that I was raised, I can't. I can't just be like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go somewhere, rent an Airbnb, and just disappear for a couple of days. I can't. Like, my core, in my soul, like, Saturday is my granddaughter's birthday. I'm off Saturday. I can basically disappear all day Saturday, but then I'm like, oh, it's my granddaughter's birthday. Is she gonna remember that I was there? No, she's only gonna be 2. But I will feel guilty if I missed her birthday. And that goes to show you, like, the way that we were raised, like that core responsibility as women. Like, my mom wasn't very responsible as a mother growing up, but my grandmother
Because you stepped in her place, though.
And it's just something about not giving us grace. I do want to thank Priscilla. She was our guest a couple episodes ago. After I had my breakdown and I called my cousins, the next phone call was Priscilla. Like, I was like, I text her, I said, are you busy? She's like, no, not really. I said, can you talk? She's like, yeah. And I called her, and just talking to her, just like gave me peace and calmness. She was like, she talked me through it. She's like, this is not a breakdown, this is a breakthrough. And it's all about mindset, I guess. I still feel like shit. I still feel like, I feel defeated right now because I guess I can't control,
There's no control over the situations that's going on.
Exactly. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, I mean, as a Latin woman, everything that we go through and everything that, it doesn't matter what happens, like, you're taught to just like,
and tighten up.
Let's do this. Like, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this podcast because my daughter was like, Mom, just cancel it, because I was crying before I came, and I was like, shit, my eyes are all red. So I put some Visine, and my daughter's like, Mom, just cancel it. And I'm like, no. I created this podcast for that. Like, this is the whole point of this. Somebody out there can relate. Somebody out there is going through something similar, and this is the space for it. And the first thing we have to cheers, because we cheers off the camera. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I'll do my little non thingies.
The hard days. No, I'm gonna get up. Cheers to the hard days. The days that, as women, we hate, we cry, we suffer, but at the end of the day,
We still keep it pushing.
And we get up and we call on somebody that we know is going to be there for us. We meet with other women that are like-minded and that you know are genuine and will support you no matter what. And I want to thank you, ladies. because this is what this is about. This is about supporting other women through our ups, hopefully more ups than downs. But in those down times, we need to be there for one another.
Yes.
Cheers to that.
Yes. It does. The self-control that you lose when shit is falling on you is very hard to let go, and to give it to God, to give it to whoever you believe in, because every woman wants to be in control of what is falling, what is happening in their lives, and sometimes it's not possible.
We can only control so much. It's so weird because that's how I was this morning. I woke up and like I said, I turned off my phone this weekend. First time in a very long time. Even if it was an emergency, I was like, look, if it's an emergency, people know where I live at. Like the important people know where I live at. Completely canceled everything. I woke up this morning and I just felt defeated. Like it was just so much stuff. Even though I just came back from a vacation, I was just like, I'm mentally and physically tired. I think I said that twice in the last month. And I've never said that so much, but you as an entrepreneur, as a boss person, boss woman, boss male, whatever, you put yourself at such high standards, and there's so many goals we have to reach to ourselves that we became the worst critic on ourselves. And it took me, I went and did the licensings for my plug and shit. It kind of hit me all at once, I think, that moment. Because when I opened hair artistry, I was 23 years old. I was a baby. But that fire that you have when you're young and you're like, I am not going to be broken. Like, I want to do all this. And you kind of forget of everything you put into it. And I think it re-humbled me again because I was like, damn, Keisha, how'd you do this? Like, you were so young, didn't know shit about business. Now I have 6 years under my belt of owning my own business. But there's so much more to do now that I have a second business. And I came in here and I broke down. Like literally sat down in that chair in front of that mirror and I was boo-boo crying this morning at like 8 o'clock in the morning right after I dropped off my son and did this stuff. Then it's like I yelled. I literally yelled out loud. I was like, fuck, and I feel like I can't call nobody because I am the strong one. Like if I call somebody right now and tell them how I'm feeling, they're gonna be like, fuck, Keisha's weak. If she can't take this, how am I gonna deal with what I'm going through?
That I struggled with. So before I called my cousins, I was like, okay, who the fuck do I call? But the thing is, they know because my uncle and my aunt, so their father, my two cousins' father and my other cousin's mom are my mom's siblings. So they can understand where I'm coming from because I was literally pissed. Like, I'm like, fuck, how I was angry at my mother for putting me in a position where I have to decide whether you're going to get revived or not. Like, why are you putting that burden on me? And then I called my brother and my sister. It's a whole other topic. They're not around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I called my sister and she's like, oh, I just spoke to her this morning. She was laughing and giggling. I'm in the hospital
like things change.
Right now. Like,
like, that's how quick. And that's what you gotta realize, that time don't wait for nobody.
My sister hasn't seen my mom in over 10 years, physically.
Oh, shame on her.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the frustration, like, nigga, don't you want to see your mom before she passes? Like, tomorrow's not promised, and she's been in the hospital consistently over the past 2 years. Like, do you not want to see your mother before she passes? God forbid. Like, see, me, I feel like I have said to my mother everything that I wanted to say to her, to the point where I've talked to her about her last dying wish. Like, what do you want done, once you pass? Because I'm the only responsible one. I'm the only responsible child that she has. So somebody has to take charge. And that's the part that pisses me off.
Because you shouldn't be alone. I went through that with my mom a couple months ago during the hurricane. And I lost my shop. I lost everything. I found out my manager was stealing from me. It was just like one thing after another. And little did, nobody knew. Except myself and my brother and my son, because we weren't even telling grandparents or anybody. My mom was in and out the hospital for 2.5 months straight, back to back. And she had endometriosis, and then they diagnosed her with Crohn's, and it was one thing after another. And at one point, it was said that it could be intestinal cancer, like intestines. She's only just turned 50 in December. And I remember her calling me and telling me that. And I was going through what I was going through. So I'm not calling her to let her know that I'm stressed because I know it's going to make her sickness worse. Then she calls me and tells me, yo, I got this thing back from the doctor. I'm like, what did they say? She's like, but you had to promise me not to tell nobody. That was the biggest burden you can give on somebody. It's like, who am I supposed to talk to? When you have a sibling, that is your backbone. That is the only person that really knows you in and out before anybody else does. That's my baby, it's my brother. Even though we fight and stuff, that's my backbone. And she was like, not even your brother. And she told me that it might be intense, like cancer inside the intestines. And I remember when she told me, I sat on the phone and my heart dropped. I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to tell anybody? I can't tell nobody. This is a lot on me. And she's giving me, I've done a will and I did this and the house gonna be yours and this. I don't want nothing. At that moment, I was like, I don't care about none of that.
It's like, your health.
Yeah, it's your health that we worry
first.
about. And I was in and out the hospital every day for like a week or 2 weeks. And I finally got the salon back and I'm doing hair and I'm leaving, going to the hospital in between because the doctors are calling me and they're doing tests. I'm coming back and doing this again. Yeah, my mom was just now getting diagnosed with Crohn's finally, and I got her on medication to help the flare-ups and stuff. And long story short, it wasn't cancer, thank God. But me and my brother weren't talking for months because of it. Because I didn't know how to talk to him. I was like, you're supposed to be here. And little did anybody else realize that my brother's a big family person, but he wasn't around. He wasn't in the hospitals. He wasn't staying overnight. He wasn't going to get underwear and bras and wiping her coochie when she can't take a shower. So his wipe her down. Do anything like that. He wasn't around. So I was very angry. And I'm like, you're going to wait until the phone call that we get that we don't want. And then you want to come and say your piece.
I went on a group, I added my brother and my sister on Facebook, and I sent them both a message. And I said, if and when mom passed away, if either one of you show your ass out during her funeral,
Yeah, do all that extra crying shit, we're going to have an issue.
On the floor, all that crap, I'll beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
That's what we went through with my dad. My mom and dad separated. I forced the hand of separation because it was a very toxic relationship between them. He chose street life over family life. When he got out, it was still street life and not family, and doing shit that I don't agree with, shit that I know she shouldn't have no business agreeing with. So finally, I was just like, look, either he goes or I go. You have to choose. Like, I can't do this anymore. We bumped heads. Me and my dad almost fist fought because it's like, you were gone.
Yeah.
You come back when I'm 17 trying to be the dad. Where was you?
So right now I don't need a dad, I need a friend.
Where was you
mentally?
when your brother tried to kill my mom? Where was you when I got raped? Don't talk to me. We fought.
Y'all gonna make me cry today.
We fought.
I wasn't ready for
Today's
this.
gonna be
I
one
thought
of
we was
those
gonna
days.
have a light
No,
episode.
thank God I wore glasses today because I'm about to be in complete tears between both of y'all.
I told my dad at one point, I was like, when you die, I'm gonna dance on your grave. Because I was done. He got sick. Changed the whole thing.
Of course.
Because it's your dad.
You're a good person.
Yeah.
How
Step
is
up.
it like that? Like you can, at that moment, it's like everything just doesn't matter.
I think mine was because he didn't remember who I was. He got dementia. I found him sitting on the toilet. He had been there for, I guess, 3 days or something, almost dead. So that was a journey within itself. We brought him home, and because I wasn't working, I was only going to school at the time, I became the full-time caretaker. My mom was the caretaker when she came home. My younger sister, she had her family, she had a husband, but she was the caretaker as well. His 2 older daughters didn't do shit. Came in, let's do this, let's do that, and then don't do shit. When it came time, we put him in the nursing home, and the doctor was like, you need to get papers ready. Get the planning in place so you guys don't have to worry about it. We send a message out to everybody. This is the amount for the cremation because that's what he wanted. We got called murderers.
Wow.
Because we were trying to plan ahead.
Oh, I wish one of my siblings would say something to me.
I'd be damned.
My mom and I have talked about everything. Like, I'm a realist. If you're born, the only certain thing in life is that one day you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? Especially if you are like my mother. She's a dialysis patient. Her health is not the best. So why not talk about it? Why wait until I'm in mourning? Because that's what people don't understand. When somebody passes away, you go through a mourning stage, right?
It's hard as shit.
And the last thing you want to do
Is do all that
have to
stuff.
worry about funerals and what would that person wanted and wills. Like, you don't want to have to worry about that. You just want to mourn in peace. I mean, I've lost enough people to know that I wouldn't want that on my kids.
Yeah.
I'll be damned. We got besides those two, we got all the money together, paid for it within, I think it was like 2 weeks. I got the call. The day after Thanksgiving on a Black Friday.
That's so sad.
He's not responding and this and that. We had him in the LaBelle nursing home. We was literally 5 minutes away and we got the second phone call that he passed.
Wow.
And it was just like,
You asked how do you do it? So
strength.
for many years, I hated my mom for many years. So when I was 9, I was molested. I blamed her for that, as any child would, just like you blame your father. Where were you? Because as a parent, you're supposed to protect your child. So then I blamed her for my brother going into drugs. Like, she allowed my brother to move out at 14. Who does that? Like, as a mother, when my son started acting out at 13, like, we whooped that ass, we punished you, but
When
you will not
be out in the streets.
Hell no.
Oh, I got threatened that they was going to send me to juvie.
No, I got that
I
all
was
the
like,
time.
okay.
My mom would be a probation officer. I was sent that all the time.
I unpacked my clothes.
And then after that, so my younger sister, the way that she is now is not entirely her fault. Like, she was brutally attacked by a man that my mom allowed to move in. So my mom rented a room to a couple that she met in church. And he tried to rape my sister and when my sister fought back, he attacked her.
Wow.
He broke 15 Arizona bottle iced teas, glass iced tea bottles on her head. So my sister had over 180 stitches on her scalp.
What the fuck?
That created
The disconnect.
issues besides the psychological, neurological issues, where my sister was never the same after that. You know what I'm saying? So I blame my mom for that. Now, mind you, before that, I was the one taking care of my sister, so I always saw my sister as my child. If you ask my sister, she'll tell you I raised her. And then my sister turned around and blamed me for abandoning her when I had my own child and moved out. So that's a whole other, I'm telling you, we got.
Here's my question, and
So many family
we gotta
issues.
lighten up some of this stuff. All right. My question is like, why are we in a constant battle of blaming the next, just because? Like, that was never your responsibility. And then the things that you were blaming your mom, that necessarily wasn't her responsibility.
So that's where I am now. So that's why I am in the position that I am now, because it took me being a mother and going through my own shit with my own kids to realize, shit, my mom also didn't have her mom. My mom didn't know what she was doing. Not only that, but she came from an abusive relationship. She came from an abusive relationship from a man that didn't physically beat her, but emotionally and verbally abused the shit out of her. I remember my first memory as a child, I remember being 5 years old, and I remember my mother In Dominican Republic, back in the 80s and 90s, still to this day, some areas you don't have electricity. Like the electricity comes and goes, right? So you can't do like food shopping for a month. You buy the meat the same day, and like you go to the corner store, and back in that time, I remember my mom used to go to the corner store and get the equivalent of 50 cents of tomato paste, $1 of rice, $2 of meat, or she will buy everything the same day because electricity wasn't reliable, so you can't keep too much stuff in the fridge. And one of my first memories is my mom running after this man, begging him for money for the food for that day for his own damn kids. So if this man is not even caring about feeding his own kids, imagine how he treated her. And that's like one of my first memories as a child at 5 years old. So it took all of that and having a conversation, not even a conversation, an argument. I remember I was angry and I was yelling at her and I was like, because of you I was raped, because of you this happened, because of you da-da-da-da-da-da. And after I released all that, then I did some self-reflection. I was like, she didn't have a mom that raised her, because my grandmother, I loved my grandmother. My grandma was the best grandma to me, but she wasn't a good mom. She left my mom to come to the United States with a stepmother and her father.
See, that's when I think it comes back to like how we were just talking about earlier, that it's more of understanding to be soft to certain people because they don't know better, and we're learning and we're breaking cycles, and there's going to be a lot. It's always easy to blame the next person before that's an easy thing to do. Exactly, and we just have to really sit down and
break the generational.
But also, you got to think about it. Like, you had your mom, and you had dad.
Yeah, my dad was there until I was 13. He went to prison. Okay,
so to a certain degree, we had either one other or the other parent, but where I'm having a confusion is like, if these parents, like, just because the other parent wasn't there doesn't give it an excuse. Like, there are there's kids out here that have both parents and still be doing some corruptive shit.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Your kids. Yeah. How much did you really know what they did?
That's the thing. I remember that one episode that I was talking about, that I found a video of my son boxing.
Right.
And you didn't know certain things were
doing?
doing?
I had no clue.
Right. So there's only a percentage, like 20%, that's what's going on in the house. That's it. As soon as they leave to go to school, whole nother world. Yeah. You didn't.
And half the time, whole nother personalities.
Yeah,
you act one way
cussed.
At home. Yeah,
you knew damn well you wasn't supposed
to. And the cuss words made no damn sense. You just wanted to say it, bitch. Fuck this. Oh, fuck her. And then out of nowhere, you just start. Yeah, it's like having different personalities with different people you're around 24/7.
It depends on who you was hanging around with, the groups you were hanging around with too.
I remember my mom used to say, "Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres." Which translate to, tell me who you hanging around with, and I'll tell you who you are.
My mom used to say.
Oh God, I used to hear that all the time.
Just because they do this, because honestly, I'll be honest with you. When I was 11 years old, I was hanging out with 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
We all were.
Yeah.
Drugs,
we all were.
Smoking, drinking.
We all were. We all were.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Why is that so weird, right? And when I think about my kids, I'm like, they better not. But you know it's gonna happen. You know how many times.
It might not be the stuff that you have, but it's now, these vapes, and they figure out new ways.
Oh no, they're getting vapes everywhere, because my stepdaughter had a couple of them already. Right. Got one, took it away, and another one was found again. Right. So it's like, then you think about it, like, I remember telling my mom, I'm going to the AFC movie theater. Yep. There wasn't even a Bell's there. There was an outskirt of like these big bulldozers. I'm gonna throw myself out there like being crazy, but it was like those bulldozers, circle cement things. Uh-huh. And I was dating this guy named Tavares. I remember him, and he was my high school sweetheart. You couldn't tell him nothing. You couldn't tell him nothing. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing about him. And he lived in Lehigh, and I lived in Cape, but we both went to middle school together. And the only time we got to see each other was, yeah, I'm telling you, it was like real puppy love. And he would call his aunt, and we'll spend money and go to the thing. Well, after a couple of those dates and a year or so in, I was ready to do the nasty, And you start questioning things like 14, 15. Like, I at 15, well, turning 16, I was with him. I already had lost my virginity at a young age, being very flamboyant, whatever the people were doing. So it wasn't even what I really wanted. But when I got with him, I was ready. Bitch, you think I can take him to my mama's house? Hell nah. So what I do, I go to the movie theater. We try whatever we can do in the movie theater. And what didn't work, we were, hey, mom, we're going to go to Popeyes and get something to eat, da-da-da. No, we end up in the middle of a construction site making the shit shake while our homegirls are watching out for people to come. The shit that we used to do as children, I was 15.
Right.
Man, I would drag my daughter by the neck if I saw her doing some shit
I
like
mean,
that.
I wasn't that bad at 14.
Oh, I was bad.
She said she had construction sites.
At 14, I mean, I had a boyfriend that
What's
was
the craziest
18.
you ever had it at? Like, baby, I got a whole list. I got a list.
My mama watches this. I can't be telling that out loud.
My mama don't know real quick. You know, that's Keisha. I don't tell that bitch nothing.
So, as y'all know, as I said before, my husband's a very private person to the point where he doesn't even have social
She
media.
finna say some wild
He watching. You're
Oh, he
watching.
watches every episode. So
Get her when she gets home.
So okay,
You ain't gonna be here to no more podcasts in a little while.
I'm not gonna. Okay, so I've never actually said this to anybody ever.
The whole world listening.
So the first time my husband and I had sex was in a car, and there was two people in the front. We were in the back.
Oh my God! I
Tell you, we be doing some wild shit.
So.
And she was
The
15,
crazy-
y'all.
The crazy thing is, like, I think about it now, and I'm like, there were two people in the front seat, and we were in the back seat. They were having sex, and we were having sex.
Y'all had an orgy.
How the
Didn't even know it.
And then my husband. The funniest thing is, so my daughter and my son-in-law, my daughter's married with 3 kids. Married.
That she just had a baby too.
Yes. So they went to Jamaica, and one of the pictures that he posted on WhatsApp, he's grabbing her by her neck. Oh, tell me why my husband had a whole problem with that.
Stop it.
A whole
Like, we all
problem.
know what they're doing. They done had a couple babies already.
My husband called my daughter into the room,
Oh shit.
showed her the picture, and said to my daughter, how would Nigel feel if Nigelina, which is their daughter, will have a picture like that?
Stop it. He's
And I
so
looked at him, I
overboard.
said,
You should be talking. Where we be doing stuff?
I'm telling you, we become an adult and it's like we forget. We
I'm
go into our
looking-
parent
wait,
standards.
Wait, forget. I'm looking. I'm like, you just choked me the other night.
Oh man.
But to him, there was no pictures taken, so it didn't happen.
For him, is like it's different when it's your child. Like it, you know, is that I don't know. It's a switch. It's like it's different. It's different.
None of that makes sense.
Because he did ask me before he called my daughter in to tell her that he didn't like the picture. He called me. He's like, "Am I tripping?" I'm like I'm. If they wanted to take the picture, it's okay. But for him to like publish it, like,
See, I don't see nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I don't
I feel
either.
like because I do photography I do photos. I get to, you know what the fuck I mean. Like they be taking pictures of me, okay? But there's certain things that we do behind the camera that it's almost like an acting moment or something cute that is like hidden secrets. But it's just memories. They're just pictures. Now, if they're not full blown 69 in on the video or he's not swiping up her coochie on a picture, I think it's
I don't know,
okay.
it's like- I guess it's because I know my daughter's personality, and my daughter's personality is the complete opposite of me, of like submissive or like she's not. Like
She's very
she-
dominant.
Yes. So to see him like with his hands around her neck, it did something to me. It's like, no. Like,
Oh no.
'Cause
I like
love-
that.
I love my daughter's personality.
Love that.
I love how dominant she is because she's so different from me.
But that's a beautiful thing because when you're a dominant woman, to be able to get out that dominancy and become feminine with somebody, I just posted that on a
Yes.
video of me and
So
my
we-
boyfriend.
And I like that.
It's
because-
beautiful.
So she's only feminine and vulnerable around him.
Exactly, as it should be.
Anywhere else, like even my husband said, "Shit, let me make sure I got this." He's scared of his daughter. He's scared of her more than he's scared. Like he doesn't. He's
That's
not
his
scared of me
baby.
at
He
all.
really don't want to break her in
Yes.
any which way,
Like,
form.
if she points something out to him, he will check himself real quick.
But isn't it weird though? Because if it's a dude, we dapping him up. Like, there you go, my
It's-
dog.
it's
Like,
a
yeah, you
fem-
got
it's a
that.
female
Because I feel like it's
standard.
gonna be so much easier to talk to my son about thoughts and hoes and what not
Oh,
to
it
bring
is.
home and
Oh.
not to do and
So
just
much
wrap it
easier.
up, son. Like, if you don't know how to do that,
So for me,
Pornhub,
it's easy to
like,
go.
It'll be easy to mold
me,
it.
it's easy for both.
Really?
Like my daughter and my son, they're only a year and 2 months apart. I remember it was so when my daughter was like, I want to say 9 or 10. So during that time, I was a health educator, and I used to go to the high school in Jersey. I used to go to the high schools and the detention centers, and I used to do health classes on birth control, STDs, HIV, and I used to give away condoms, flavored lubricant. My brother was an HIV counselor, so I used to get a whole bunch of like flavored condoms, flavored lubricant.
Oh, I got packs of those from the McGregor Clinic.
Yeah,
so if you need them, strap up, come to Hair Artistry. I got you.
Safe sex is the best sex. So I used to have them in my house. So one day she asked me, "Mommy, what are those?" So my whole parenting skill, like my advice is, if the child is ready to ask the question, they're ready to know the answer.
That means they're about to do it. I'm gonna tell you right now. If a kid comes up to you and start questioning you, one about weed, that means it's already been given to them, exposed to them, or they're already about to think about smoking it, so they asking you. If they asking about sex, oh, they about to get it in. And it's just that simple. Like, we have to learn how to read between the lines, because I done that.
Well,
and when you don't see, my mom didn't either, so I went and exposed a little bit.
Exactly.
I lost my virginity to an 18-year-old guy at 14 years old. And definitely.
See, I dated at 18, dated an 18-year-old at 14, but I never crossed a line. 'Cause I was scared.
All right, first off, and I'm glad that you brought that point up, because that was going to be a conversation on my podcast. All right, we got too many guys that are playing that card. I know when I was in high school, there was too many girls that just passed up on me because I was too skinny and broke and all this other stuff.
And they go with the older men.
And they went with dude that had the money and all this shit together. But if parents would have found out about that, that would have been jail.
Yeah.
Oh my
And you know
goodness.
what's crazy is that we have to speak on that more, because we frown upon it by legal aspects.
Right.
But when you really think about real life shit, my mom was 15 and my dad was 21 when they first met. They didn't have sex until she was 18. Whatever they want to claim. They swear. But at the end of the day, we all know what it is. When I was 13, I was little by little. There was kids already doing the most at 13. And I was still very much a tomboy.
Right.
Because I was the homeboy of like the girls. They were girly girls. I was a tomboy. I was like, well, they're getting a lot of attention from it.
Yeah.
So let me, maybe. And I confided in one of my homegirls' older brothers, which he knew everything that he was doing. He was molding me as an 18-year-old man. When I think about it now, being 30 years old, there's no reason why an 18-year-old man needs to do anything with a 14-year-old girl. We don't know nothing. We don't know how to nut. I didn't have an orgasm until I think after I had my son, to be real with you. Like, we're just having sex to have sex. And you think because a man gets off, you did something. But then the day, you're not even learning your G-spot. We don't know nothing. And it was because I wanted to know. And then when I finally did it, man, it was horrible. It was whack as fuck. I snuck him through the window while my mom was sleeping. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. Like, my mom don't know this story. God. I'm there. I'm here.
I got caught with that one.
He came with a fucking thing of McDonald's, like a McChicken.
Damn, a McDonald's got your ass.
Yo, I swear to God. What was he doing? Because to me, I was just like, you know what? You my dog. I'm your dog. Like, I've known your sister for 4 or 5 years. You know, I feel comfortable with you. Show me the ropes. And he brought me a thing of McDonald's, and to me, it was normal. We tried it.
Nakisha gave it up for some McDonald's.
I learned my worth after that. Like, you want me to be blunt? I learned after that. Because we don't think about it. But now, when I'm older, I remember him calling me and be like, oh, do this, and that, and get it ready for me. I'm like, what? You want me to do what?
Yo, this is going to be clipped up.
No, but it was wild when I really, like, this is some raw. Y'all want to talk about raw shit? This is some raw shit that I had an 18-year-old man at 14 calling me, telling me, like, yo, put your fingers here and do this and get it ready. Like, he was molding me to get ready for him.
Shut up.
And I didn't, And at 14, I was just like, okay, if that's what I have to do, okay, we'll try. And it was nothing pleasurable to me, but to me, it was like, this is what I had to do to get ready for this moment. And then after I did it, it wasn't like what people said. I never bled. Like when people say you lose your virginity, I didn't. happened. It lasted probably 3 minutes. And all I remember is sweat hitting the top of my lip. Like, it was disgusting.
And them chicken nuggets, though.
The chicken sandwich was sweet and sour. That was the only good thing that came out of it. But afterwards,
the chicken sandwich was the best.
the chicken sandwich is the best. And I remember my cousin being in the living room on AOL because I was like, yo, there's no phone calls. You know, when. So I was like, yo, watch out for my mom. Well, that thought was too busy messaging people on AOL Messenger, trying to holler at people. She missed it, and my mom's banging on my door, and I'm pushing him out the window, and he's running across the street on Hancock. I'll never forget. And after that day, honestly, I really never went into having sex. I wasn't that person that once I had it, I needed it afterwards. Kind of stood my ground until later. Oh, now I'm a fucking like, I'll suck my man dry. Like, you're not even ready for the Keisha that you get now, because I'm a real Scorpio. But now I've learned my sexual, like, what I want.
Desires.
Either my desires, how I like it, what I want to do, different things I still want to explore with my person. Because with every sex partner, you do learn something different about yourself.
See, I can't experience shit because mine's so scared.
Who? What?
Who's scared?
Who is scared? You're scared?
No, my partner's scared.
Are we like scared like in like
Yeah,
I want to
like
be
the-
tied up
the-
like
the
a pig.
choking.
Oh, see, I'm all into
See,
that.
like the choking.
I'm all into that.
Because my husband.
I get the
my
opposite.
husband told me, I think my husband just told me there's actually a case right now.
Yeah.
There was a guy that was having sex
And
he
he's
was
choking.
this girl and
And
he
he-
died.
Shut up.
Yes.
Well, see, you gotta know the difference.
You gotta know the pressure points.
Wait.
You're not looking at her face
pressure
while you're
points.
doing it.
Let me put you guys on. You need to have a safe word.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Say for it, nothing, nigga. I'm like, bitch. Like, that's it. Like, I can't. But I'm not gonna. I love that. I like to the point that I can't breathe because the
Yes.
moment you're at that spot, it's like when
You see how y'all fuck us up?
It's the best orgasm of life.
We're
That's what I said.
destined.
He was like, no,
Oh, I love that.
We are destined.
because
He's
of
like,
this,
if
I
something
can't
happens,
do
I'm a
it.
black
As a guy, we are destined to go to jail because of y'all. Y'all want the most borderline, death-defying
Yeah,
bullshit,
I sure do.
and then we do it, and then you dead. We're like, well, I was, man.
What did Eve do?
She ate the damn apple.
That means
She
she's.
made the man bite the damn apple.
That means he ate the box.
That's what I'm saying.
You wrapping us up? It's bad time.
Hold on.
Listen, so I got you beat though. So real quick, when I was 11, I was hanging out with an older crowd. My older cousin, who was 14, she started dating this guy who was like in his 30s.
Oh no.
But,
That's too old for
but
me,
the,
man.
the thing was that they had cars, right? So this 30-year-old something guy had a 24-year-old nephew. So my 11-year-old ass, my cousin was like, hey, he likes you, here, boom. I didn't look 11. Let's start by that. Like, I definitely didn't look 11. I'll give you pictures so you can post of what I looked like when I was 11.
Oh yeah, I didn't look
I
like
didn't
I was
look
12.
11.
Yeah.
You know? And I was hanging out with 19, 18-year-olds, so he assumed that I was 19. He never asked me for my age. However, I always put myself in, okay, so I was molested when I was 9. And then after that, in my young, innocent mind, I didn't know if I was a virgin or not, because I was out in the street, so I had street knowledge, so I would like kiss boys or whatever. This was like before my husband. I would kiss a boy, and then like when it would get too intense, where they would like try to take my bra off, I'm like, no. And I would always stop them. And then this 24-year-old guy, when we were making out, whatever, and it was getting heavy, I was at his house. Like, I put myself in a place where I could really been raped,
Yeah.
abused.
I will
like,
say
so many
my
different-
situation I
so
put
many-
myself
like,
in.
God has looked out for me in so many ways, I can't even tell you. I put myself in so many compromising situations that I look back now and I'm like, thank you, God.
Yeah, definitely.
Only God. So it got so hot and heavy, like after making out, and then I started feeling uncomfortable. And then I told him, I said, hey, by the way, I'm 12. Yo, this man's jaw dropped to the bottom.
Yeah, at that point, I'm gonna whoop your
And
ass.
he's like, you need to put your clothes on. And I need to take you home.
Oh my
If
god.
it wasn't for that, like I don't, he could have done whatever.
Right.
We were at his house. There was no other, there was
And
not
thank
a-
God the man got morals because
Yes.
Yeah.
He knew you were young.
Listen,
He just didn't think you were that young.
His name was Francis. I'm never going to forget his name. I lived in...
Well, then just put his whole government out.
I lived in
He skated and he was like, oh,
I was
shit.
in Massachusetts. I lived in Dorchester, Massachusetts. And after that, I really was like, you know what, I can't keep doing this. And it wasn't until I met my husband. Now, I already said it. The first time I had sex with my husband was in the backseat of a car. However, prior to that, we had been friends. Prior to that, we had been hanging out. Like, there was I felt comfortable with him. So I came down to this conclusion, right? I kissed a lot of boys. I made out with a lot of boys. But every time it got so close to like having sex, I would always feel the need to stop. With my husband, I never felt that need. I felt comfortable.
Secure.
I feel security. And to me, Matt, like now that I'm an adult, it was like the only time that I felt safe. Because prior to that, I didn't feel safe. And I think that's why it was okay for me to have sex with him, because I felt that safety. And it wasn't until I got pregnant that I revealed to my husband that I had been molested. And the actions that he took after that, he was like, I need the name, I need to know who, like what, where, when. Like, it reinforced that security and that admiration that I had for him already. So for me, he was the person that God put in my life to be with me for the rest of my life. And that's something that I have carried through for our 29 years of marriage. The downs, the really, really downs that we've had, because we've had many, I always remind myself of that. God, he was there, and he was the only person, because like I said, I kissed a lot of boys before my husband, but I never felt safe, I never felt secure like I did with him. It was a feeling, it wasn't a physical thing, because you can get horny. Physically, you can get horny with a good-looking guy, right? But that feeling, inner peace, inner security, I didn't feel until I was in his arms. And that's why I feel like we were meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I put myself into that situation for that to happen to me, because I was young, stupid, and thought I was in love and went to go use the phone to call the one that I was in love with and got taken advantage of. I won't put myself in that situation again, but we all have things that we've learned. We all went through things that we've grown.
You can definitely
It's
grow
a
from.
lesson learned.
Just think twice before you do everything, because remember, you will remember it the rest of your life.
Yes.
And then you're going to be like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Like,
My mama was right this whole time.
That part.
That part. So, if anybody is young and you're watching this, my advice to you is this. Knowledge comes with time. And your parents tell you the only person that truly cares about you is the one that gave birth to you and raised you. Because anybody can get pregnant, anybody can impregnate a woman.
Yep.
But the person that raises you, that has been there through thick and thin, that's the person that really cares about you. And when somebody older than you tells you something, it's because they've been through life.
And they care
It's
enough to see you not go through it.
Yeah.
It's a
And that
good
goes for
way.
males or women.
And not only that, but the statistics, the numbers here in Southwest Florida are huge for
It's
HIV and
a
STDs.
good
Yes,
way
they
to
are.
close out the show.
Yes.
Get tested and come to
Protect
Hair
yourself.
Artistry for condoms.
Wear condoms, get protection, don't have sex with just the
And
first
don't do it for
person.
McDonald's.
That part.
On that note, hit him with socials. Hit 'em with socials.
Listen, guys, thank you so much for coming into Parlor Talk. Today was, again, I've always said this from day one. This is a safe place. This is a place where we all go through a lot of stuff. We all go through ups and downs. Today, for me, sucked. Today was not a nice day. Today was a day that I've been crying all day.
And we still cried, but then we got over it.
Liquor in my cup because it was that kind of day. I'm not an alcoholic. That doesn't make me an alcoholic. That doesn't make me a bad person. I just needed a relaxation and something to just chill me up. And that's real. We don't edit. We didn't even talk before we came to the show. We don't say what we're going to talk about, or we have like a topic, but we didn't even
get to our
the topic
topics.
that we were going to talk about. This is a space for women to just be real. This is a space for women to just be raw.
Or men. I want a man to come on here and cry.
We had one.
But no, but like Wyatt.
Really
But
did.
like boohoo cry with like past drama emotion, like trauma emotions.
All right, let's make that a goal.
We're in search for a hurt man.
We're looking for someone that has some PTSD.
Mr. Producer, you want to come back here?
Ooh. Mr. Producer, you got something to say?
All right, we need to.
Okay. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We're trying to grow our podcast. This is something that comes from all of our hearts. This is something that is much needed in this community. We are looking for sponsors. We are looking for interaction from our audience. Please send any questions, any topics, anything that you're interested in hearing us talk about, anybody that you want to see in the podcast, let us know. My name is Dee Dominguez, and this is Parlor Talk.
And this is Enya Phoenix. Catch me on all social media platforms. I'll be the one responding.
And y'all already know it's Shhmoney, girl. I'm outside.
Outside.
Outside. Bye. Till next time. They say Monday in Spanish.
How you say what?
Monday in Spanish.
Lunes.
Lunes. Catch us next lunes.